this Matteo Siasig signature card has come back with a return offer. Do you know what he wants?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear what he wants for his signed Matteo Siasig, who's like the third choice keeper at Charleroi? He wants my rare Verscharen and he wants my OG 1 of 100 Van de Voort.
That's a good try. I like that. I do like that.
Reject.
Van der Voort will haunt me, honestly. I remember, well, I'll give you the reasoning. I remember when I joined, he was about like 80, 100 quid.
Yeah.
The reason I never bought him is because you could buy a starting goalkeeper for 60 quid. Maybe a bit of MLS or whatever. You could buy like Gallese and guys like that for 60 quid. I'm not spending 100 quid on a guy that's not playing. And like 3-4 weeks later or whatever, they come out and said, oh, Vukovic's not playing anymore. He's number one. And then he just went through the roof, didn't he? But so yeah, that was my own fault for being stingy, because I could have had you've got that 1 out of 100, but I could have had one of those initial season one various times for 80 to 100, and I knew it was good. I really rated him. Like he was seen as the one of the best young goalkeepers about type thing, and I just never bought him. So anyway.
Well, the reason I bought him, and I never knew he was rated or anything, but see a lot of the logic that you've shown with this spreadsheet, like Van de Voort, before I bought him, he played like 2 group stage games in the Champions League, and there was no real reason for it. It wasn't like the guy was suspended or injured or anything. It was just like, I knew they were eliminated and all that. You're going to play, son. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that logic with goalkeeper stands up. If you could hit the subscribe button, I do daily videos on SoRare, everything from hints, tips and tricks all the way through to live streams and tips on cheap players to buy. That will also automatically enter you into my March giveaway. I'm giving away a rare Davy Klaassen, who's a midfielder for Ajax, and 2 limited goalkeepers. If you want to stick around to the end of the video, we'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there.
The other one that annoys me in this is the nugget card. If you scroll down, and Aki Pena from Barcelona, like he's now number 1 at Galatasaray. So they had to Muslera get injured, and they've taken him on loan, but there's no card. So I would definitely have bought him. So SoRare lost some income there, because he would be flying out the door at 4-figure prices for the rare at the moment.
Of course.
But anyway, that's life. But yeah, it just shows you it's worth keeping an eye on these guys. People look at it and say, who's an Aki Pena? Obviously I knew it. Yeah, well, he is now, yeah. Well, he was at Barca, and obviously you look at these things, you're always looking at like the big clubs, and because I had like one point went through all the leagues, looked at all the teams, went through and had a look at their SofaScore squads, seen if they had any like under 23 goalkeepers in their squad, just done some notes on that, just see if there was any of them, would click on them, see if they'd played in the cup. And that's what threw up a couple of these guys like Diogo Souza and Tyler Spore. He plays every cup game, so he's a cup goalkeeper. So I'm thinking, right, he's a young guy, he's playing in the cup, so he's getting experience, and there's a prospect if he does well, maybe he'll get in, or at least they trust him to play in the cup, which is a good thing, which means he might get picked up by somebody else. So that type of thing is interesting to look for that, and like big nations under 21 goalkeepers as well, Germany, Holland, Portugal. Diogo Costa, when he wasn't playing, Marchson was playing, and then way back then he was 60 quid. And SoRare, but it was Portugal under 21 goalkeeper, and people rated him. And if I could go back now and buy 400 of them, then it would remortgage my house, and I would buy 400 of them. And it looks obvious now, but you got to look at guys like this and think, well, yeah, that's just obvious value. 30 quid for a limited, like, just
bring it on.
Just really good value. They'll play at some point if they're good enough. They'll not sit on the bench forever. And some of these guys are trebling for playing one game and getting a clean sheet and stuff, and they're not even number 1. So just that to me seems like a no-brainer to pick up some of them if you can afford it, obviously, or if it's part of your strategy to try and work your way up a wee bit.
Of course.
Rather than have to spend the full shebang on starters. So
the full, and again, when you were talking there, the main thing that was going through my head is that just all sounds like Muric. If you remember, before Man City signed Zach Steffen, Muric would play every EFL game for Man City, like the cups, and maybe not FA Cup past a certain round, and then when he does get the chance to go out on loan, he's the best U23 keeper on the platform as we speak at this moment in time, And
he's one of the best goalkeepers on the platform. Period. He's in the top 3 in scoring, but then he's obviously that's the last 15, and guys can go on heaters and all that sort of stuff, and I understand that, but like he's been absolutely brilliant. he's banging in. He did like quite a few 60s without a clean sheet, so that is really good form. So just shows you these guys get a chance, And the thing with Adana is they're quite rich. I know we're not on the best buy sheet, but they've got a lot of money, and I could see them buying him. So a lot of people say, "Oh, I'll go to the EPL," and I was like, well, maybe not. Like they're minted, so they could just slap 15 million in for him or whatever, and buy him. So we'll see how that develops. But yeah, it is a bit of a minefield because even with him, he's on loan, and that type of thing. And that all those factors point to kind of trying to get some of the guys who are going to come in rather than spending a lot of money on somebody with more risk or less upside. Good to have a mix. You got a couple of starting goalkeepers, you got Safanov or whatever, and you're sitting and you think, oh, that's great. And then the next minute, frickin' Safanov gets injured. You've got no 23 goalkeeper, and you're thinking about going and replace him. You're like, you need to find $2,000, for a rare. You think, I wish I'd maybe bought somebody, whatever. Like, it just kind of gives you a bit of protection, for want of a better word, as well. So.
For sure. And with that, I've got on screen now for any of you guys watching this, the recommended buys or the best buys, as Marky called it. Some of these names we've touched on the last couple of episodes already. But the one top of the list we haven't mentioned at all, and that's Emil Svilar.
Yeah. He's out of contract in the summer, so surely he'll be getting fed up with sitting on the bench. But I did see a report, translated it, because I'm struggling to speak Scottish sometimes, but not other languages. But I'm sure his dad said that he wanted to go and play somewhere. That was the report, wanted to go and play. So I think he's obviously been playing in Portugal, but he's Belgian, isn't he? So they might even be dual nationality or whatever. But he's out of contract in the summer. So and there was one.
Sorry to interrupt you, but he's been in the Serbia senior national team for the last two squads as a number 2 to Rakovic.
Ah, right. Okay. That in itself is a good sign as well.
Yep.
But I think he's got a Belgian parent as well. He was definitely linked with Charlotte or what. Eve's just come into the kitchen. She's flagging my pronunciations here. But I mean, they brought in Kamara from Strasbourg as cover for Coffee on the AFCON.
Yep.
So obviously at that point they were talking about maybe doing a deal and of things maybe more so like obviously out of contract in summer, so it didn't quite sort of suit that situation. So probably had to pay a fee. But he's the type of guy where you just think surely he's going to go somewhere and play. And the other thing as well is things are moving on now. Like obviously we know they're going to cover Croatia. Yep. So it seems to me be less risk that somebody's going to go somewhere and not be covered. Like,
as long as it's top flight, we're happy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't always have regarded Croatia as top flight, but I'm actually really.
No, I mean, it's like Croatian top flight. If it's
I know what you mean now, but I'm kind of quite excited they're getting Dynamo Zagreb on because like you look at guys that come through there talent wise and they've played there before. Like I don't know where Modric came from. I can't remember, but they developed so many good players, and I find that quite exciting. But our guys will say, "Oh, Orsic is averaging 70, and this is going to bugger up SO5." Well, that's the way it is. We knew they were going to bring on a lot of the teams and stuff. But back to my kind of original point, obviously Katarski's on loan there for Ajax. He's not on the sheet. He's not one I'd kind of considered. But the reason I didn't consider it is I knew he was on loan, and at that point the league wasn't covered.
Yep.
So it's interesting to kind of keep an eye on stuff like that as well. And with kind of punter in me is thinking, would you pick up somebody that's in Sweden? Sweden's covered by Opta, but they've not covered the league yet. So you can see some angles developing there, through time if somebody moves there and they're really cheap. So it's kind of interesting stuff. I think we'll just aim to get them all on. If they've Opta cover them, they can get a club license, even one club license. They'll be like, let's get the league on. So and young goalkeepers wise, if they go out on loan for experience or whatever, they could go to one of these more obscure places. But their price could go nuts because they're going to play. So
totally. The biggest league that's missing, I think, at the moment in Europe is probably Greece. Sweden, I would definitely put as a close second.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. As soon as these kind of top avenues come out, then all these interesting loans for the third choice and the fourth choice, the guys in Croatia to play some Conference League for GNK Gorica, and then this guy's away to, Denmark to do this, and this guy's away to that. You could have like a bunch of fourth string goalkeepers turn into elite youth prospects, in SO5 over within a transfer window.
The other thing I like about Scandinavia is look at Vindal, and he obviously has moved to AZ, and AZ's quite a popular team in SoRare, particularly because obviously guys like Owen Weindal, and you've got Carlson and Evgen coming in there, and you'd Cook Miners and Blado and everything there. But, you could have picked him up at his previous team. Now, interestingly, if he was playing regularly, he would probably have been expensive anyway, but you would imagine at some point he's been a backup in his career in that league. So pick up these guys, on the cheap at the point where, they're just trying to find their way, and then all of a sudden they're playing and they impress, and then they get a move, and you just don't know where it's going to go. You just really don't know. Like they could be good, but if they're playing regularly as an under 23 goalkeeper, the whole value anyway. For me, like you look at Diogo Costa's price, and he's been gashed this season for there's hardly kept any clean sheets for ages, and his price just keeps going up. But it's because they'll be in Europe, he's playing at a top team, and he's good age. So everybody's looking at him thinking, well, there's going to be a shortage of 23s goalkeepers next year. He's going to be one of the leading ones for years, and they're prepared to pay a bit more. So you've got to factor that stuff in. People went, he's rubbish. Like Diche, like Sarang, his scores are horrendous. But he's in the French under-21 squad. So, and a lot of people saying, well, Metz could do with him, so you just never know. Maybe he's having a rough time at Sarang, but he goes back, he's playing for Metz, and then he's an Albon Lafont price because he's a champion goalkeeper. You just don't know. So you've got to factor all these things in as well. Totally. If you're able to have the patience, obviously, so as well.
I think the other name on this sheet that we didn't cover, I think you might have touched on, I'm sorry, but is Miguel Acosta at Argentinos. Now, Argentinos, Marky Boy, you need to talk about the goalkeepers at Argentina. I seen Lanzillotta today going for like fucking 0.6 or something.
Chavez got injured, so he was come back, he was in the squad, and he got injured in training, he got a head injury, so everybody's saying that he'll still be number one. So
fair enough.
So yeah, I mean
0.8 he's listed at.
Yeah. I think that's a classic example of people are paying nearly full price for both goalkeepers, and both of them can't play. So, people don't really seem to know which one's supposed to be number one, but everybody in the know is saying that he was coming back in and he would play, and he was the number one beforehand as well. Now, everybody knows that sometimes you can have a guy who was number one and they can get injured and they don't get back in, but popular consensus is that he is the number one. So he's not got back in yet, but I think he was sitting as like the backup. He was on the bench, and then something happened. He wasn't on the bench at all. And obviously Acosta, he's quite a highly rated young sort of goalkeeper there as well. And again, all right, he's got two good goalkeepers ahead of him, but loan, might get a loan. I think he's but harder to find information on some of these leagues. It's definitely more of a punt. It's not within my knowledge level, but when you're going through and you're looking at SofaScore and you're looking at scouting reports and you're just searching for stuff and just try to pick up names and saying like, this guy's been in a squad, he's only 19, and then you just kind of go from there. But the overall feeling I'm getting, like, you see this sheet and there's a lot of names on it, but that second sheet is populated by guys who aren't playing, and then you look at all the goalkeepers who are going out of the 23s this year, guys like Bijlo, you get guys like Bodart, who obviously been a SoRare stalwart. Maximenko got dropped, but he was one of the 23s goalkeepers. You guys like Florian Müller in Germany. I'm just saying these off the top of my head, but there's Bum Kuhn, or whatever you call him, Bum, for
guy,
Lundbeck. He's probably been the leading under 23 goalkeeper there for years. He's going to be 24. They're all going out to 23s. And on this spreadsheet, I've tried to put everybody on it that I could find that's got potential to play. And that's it.
Yep.
There aren't 15 or 20 guys that SoRare's going to add all these leagues, and then they're going to come in and you're like, oh, I thought there was only going to be 10 starting goalkeepers and now there's 15. It is not going to happen. No. So what's going to happen is the prices of the ones which are playing are just going to go up.
For sure.
And the ones you get is backup. If you get one as backup and then they get in, then you're going to make a fucking shitload of money on them as well. So, you know, for me, I think that's a good angle, good way to go.
And that's the way we're going to run it, Marky Boy. Love the sheet, mate. I love all the info. Thanks very much for taking time out your night away from the family and the kids. I know Eve's joined us tonight, so thanks very much for your contribution to Eve.
She was just slagging my pronunciation and making a tea, so that's just standard. So.
So Mark, you can be found on Twitter at McBrideAce. All your tags will be in the description, of course. Thanks very much for joining me again, buddy. It means a lot.
No problem. Enjoyed it. Cheers.
Thank you, man. Let's get into all the giveaway stuff before I let you go. I'm still doing monthly giveaways and I'm making it easier to enter. If you want to be entered to win this month's prize or any future giveaways here at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, you need to be a subscriber to enter, then leave a comment down below. Each month, a random comment from a random video will be selected as the winner, so the more videos you leave a comment on, the better the chance you've got of winning any of my giveaways. All the winners are announced at the end of videos the same way as we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. As always guys, if you've enjoyed the video today, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. On screen there now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.